National Assembly passes Finance Supplementary Amendment Bill 2018 with majority. Government reinstates ban on non-filers of tax returns from purchasing property and vehicles. Finance Minister Asad Umar says Pakistan and China are strategic partners and will take decisions on CPAC projects together. Pakistan People's Party Chairman Bilawal Bhutto says Parliament is not same container and there is huge difference between leading, sit-in and government. Bilawal asked PTI government where is its 100-day development plan. Bilawal says budget does not reflect promises government made to the people. Prime Minister Imran Khan is urged corruption will not be tolerated at any cost. Imran directs measures for improvement in performance of institutions. Prime Minister takes briefing on country's economic, political and security situation. British Prime Minister Theresa May defends Brexit plan after dancing onto stage. May cautions she will rather leave without a deal than accept carve-up of United Kingdom. Shares in Aston Martin fall as much as 6.5% on their London Stock Exchange debut. Aston Martin's chief executive Andy Palmer says down risk to business from Britain leaving European Union. Meghan Markle and Harry inspects U.S. Declaration of Independence in England. A manuscript stored for more than 60 years ago in a strong room among miles of documents in West Sussex Record Office. World Court orders United States to ensure Iran sanctions don't hit humanitarian aid. International Court of Justice judges hands victory to Tehran as U.S. administration sanctions violate terms of 1955 Treaty of Amity between the two countries. French swimmer Ben Lecume crosses 1,000 nautical miles mark in Pacific quest for more than 27 different scientific organizations to be benefiting from data gathered during expedition. Real Madrid suffers shock 1-0 defeat to CSKA Moscow. CSKA top Group G in 4 points, one clear of AS Roma in second and Real in third. Julia Roberts shows her support for refugees. Julia Roberts sent message of love by wearing T-shirt in support of abandoned by their own country and government. Lives the beach at Channel 4 Paris Fashion Week. Channel's veteran designer Karl Lagerfeld appears at the end to wave to crowd from Beach Hut.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. You're watching 92 News HD UK. My name is Muhammad Yasir Rizwan.
My name is Faik Mahmood and Moin Ahmed will also be there in this bulletin with us. So starting off with the top story today, the National Assembly on Wednesday passed the Finance Supplementary Amendment Bill 2018 with a majority vote. Finance Minister Asad Umar presented the bill. Speaker Asad Keser presided over this session.
The ban on people not filing income tax returns, purchasing land and vehicles was restored. Non-filers still have time. They can file their returns and become eligible to purchase property and vehicles, the finance minister said. Umar went on to say that the state is not as weak as it might appear. It has the strength needed to collect the money they owe.
Pakistan People's Party Chairman Bilawal Bhutto said on Wednesday a national economy could not be fueled by donations, politics could not be sustained on abuse, and a country could not be run by magic. He said the parliament should not be seen as some container for protests to bring a government down. The government, he said, should get serious about the business of governance. Referring to Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's campaign promises, he asked, where are the 10 million jobs, the 5 million houses for the homeless, and the government's 100-day plan for development?
There would be no begging book. We were told there would be no loan. We were told there would be no IMF. And look at what we got, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister goes to Saudi Arabia on his first trip, begging bowl in hand. Is it not true, Mr. Speaker, that the government is currently negotiating with the IMF? ये हुकूमत को बताना चाहता हूँ, धरना देने में और हुकूमत चलाने में बहुत फर्क होता है. ये पार्लियामान है, कंटेनर नहीं. आपने आप सीरियस सियासत करनी, आपने आप सीरियस पॉलिसी मेकिंग करनी है, आपने आप मुश्किल डिसीजंस लेने हैं और फिर उन फैसलों पर कायम रहने. आपने यू टर्न नहीं लेना. कौन इस हुकूमत को समझाएगा कि मुल्क ऐसे नहीं चल सकता? मईशत चंदा से नहीं, सियासत गाली से नहीं, और मुल्क जादू से नहीं चल सकता.
Prime Minister Imran Khan said on Wednesday his government will not tolerate corruption. He directed Minister for Law and Justice Farooq Naseem to prepare as soon as possible the draft for reforming the law-governing National Accountability Bureau. More in this report.
The Premier chaired a meeting at his Parliament House chamber. The meeting was attended by senior party leaders and federal ministers. He asked for immediate measures to be taken to improve the performance of government institutions. He said his government will show no tolerance for corruption. Minister for National Health Services Regulations and Coordination, Amir Kayani, presented his initial report on third drought. He also gave a briefing on steps taken for improvement of health sector. The minister said he would soon visit Thar to inspect the provision of medical equipment. He said 4 new hospitals will be built in federal capital and that the existing dispensaries would be upgraded. Minister for Law and Justice, Farooq Naseem, gave a briefing on proposed amendments in the NAB law and the progress towards repatriation of assets taken abroad from Pakistan. The Prime Minister directed the minister to take all parties in confidence on the amendments in law and the progress towards repatriation of assets. Finance Minister Asad Umar and Advisor on Commerce and Investment Abdul Razak Dawood gave briefings on the talks with Saudi delegation.
Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi on Tuesday night met with the United States top civilian and military brass, including Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton, to discuss bilateral ties and regional situation. Qureshi told Pompeo peace in South Asia would remain elusive until all disputes, including the core dispute of Jammu and Kashmir, were resolved.
Qureshi called on the U.S. Secretary of State here at the Department of State office in what's become his third meeting with his American counterpart this month. During his visit to Islamabad last month, the latter had invited him to visit Washington. In the 20-minute meeting, the two discussed bilateral issues and matters pertaining to regional security. In his meeting with National Security Advisor Bolton at the White House, Qureshi spoke about India's rising aggressive posture. He said Islamabad remained committed to engaging New Delhi in a comprehensive peace dialogue to resolve all outstanding issues, including the Kashmir dispute. The foreign minister said India had not responded to Prime Minister Imran Khan's invitation to talks to restore peace. Qureshi and Pompeo agreed that peace and stability in Afghanistan required a commitment to talks. Qureshi noted that use of force had failed to deliver the desired results. Pompeo appreciated the Islamabad's support for a political reconciliation in Kabul and its efforts for peace in the region. The two sides agreed that the time was ripe of the Afghan Taliban to take the opportunity for a political settlement. Qureshi also met several U.S. senators who said the change of the government in Pakistan had brought about a new hope for peace in the region. They said Pakistan's sacrifices in the war against terror should be recognized. Qureshi was accompanied by Foreign Secretary Tahmina Janjua and Ambassador Ali Jahangir Siddiqui.
Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf candidate Shehzad Wasim on Wednesday won the election to the Senate against a seat from the Punjab. He beat Khwaja Ahmed Hassan of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Wasim bagged 181 votes to Hassan's 169. Polling had started at 9 a.m. and continued till 4 p.m. The Provisional Election Commissioner was the presiding officer. Seat had fallen vacant after Chaudhry Mahmood Sarwar resigned to take up his new assignment as provincial governor.
An inquiry report submitted in the Supreme Court on Wednesday said former Pak Pathan District Police Officer Rizwan Gondal was transferred on account of political intervention. The report said that during the meeting at Punjab Chief Minister Usman Buzdar's office, Ahsan Jamil Gujjar behaved in a humiliating manner and the former IGP Kaleem Imam's role was that of a rubber stamp. Gujjar tendered an apology which was not accepted by the court.
A three-member bench of the Apex Court headed by Chief Justice of Pakistan is hearing a suo motu notice of the former DPO's transfer. National Counter-Terrorism Authority Chief Meher Khalid Dadlak submitted an inquiry report saying the former Pak Pathan DPO's transfer came about on account of a political intervention. The report said that during the meeting at Chief Minister's office, Ahsan Jamil Gujjar behaved in a humiliating manner. It said former IGP Kaleem Imam merrily rubber-stamped the decision. The report said the DPO was given a humiliating message.
The
Chief Justice remarked that there was no objection to Chief Minister's conduct. Justice Nisar rejected the apology tendered by Gujjar. Khyber Manika asked the court where a remedy lay for him. Police mistreated me and my family, he said. Should I have taken my complaint to my ex-wife or to Prime Minister Imran Khan? The Chief Justice told him not to get emotional. The court, he said, had ordered an inquiry and had now received a report. The court then ordered that a copy of the report be sent to Chief Minister Usman Buzdar and a former IGP Kaleem Imam. The Chief Minister was directed to file a response in 3 days. The hearing was then adjourned for a week.
The Islamabad High Court on Wednesday issued the detailed judgment following its order to suspend the sentences of former Premier Nawaz Sharif, his daughter Maryam Nawaz and her husband Captain Safdar retired in the Avenfield reference case. The judgment noted that the National Accountability Bureau had mostly relied on Panama Papers case.
The IHC has issued a detailed judgment following its order to suspend the sentences in the Avenfield corruption reference. The 41-page judgment has been written by Justice Athar Minullah. In hindsight, the sentences awarded to the accused may not be ultimately sustainable. The judgment reads, the Accountability Court which awarded the sentences did not state how or refer to evidence regarding how Maryam assisted Nawaz in the purchase of the Avenfield apartments. It added, further, the judgment said the National Accountability Bureau mostly relied on Panama paper cases to argue their points against suspension in sentences. The suspects were also indicted under Section 9A4 of NAB Ordinance, but the trial court acquitted them and the prosecution did not challenge the acquittal. The judgment reads, the findings are not final and our opinion, our observation will not influence the appeals, the order says. On September 19, the bench comprising Justice Athar Minullah and Justice Miagul Hassan Aurangzeb had suspended the sentences awarded in the Avenfield case. Dr. Farooq Sattar, the Muttahida Qawmi Movement Pakistan leader, was on Wednesday indicted on charge of violating the Loudspeaker Act. More in this report. The MKM Pakistan leader pleaded not guilty to the charges. The magistrate summoned the witnesses for October 17 and adjourned the hearing. Speaking to the journalists later, Sattar demanded that false cases against MKMP workers be dismissed. We want our missing workers recovered. Our partnership with the government should not be all words and no action.
Lollipop साबित नहीं होनी चाहिए, बल्कि जो चीजें तय हुई हैं उस पर अमल दरामद
होना चाहिए. हमारे लापता साथी तेजी से बाजियाब होने चाहिए.
Sattar said China-Pakistan economic corridor was a game changer. He said China and Pakistan were partners, but India was trying to find ways to disrupt the project.
चीन की हुकूमत तैयार है सी पैक में कराची में ये ट्रेनें चलाने के लिए. सी पैक के अंदर तो कराची को ये सी पैक में मंसूबा मिलना चाहिए.
He also condemned the Indian Army chief's recent statements. Sattar said his party had asked for making the circular railway a CPAC project.
More news stories line up right after a short break.
Stay with us.
British Prime Minister Theresa May defended her Brexit plans on Wednesday but cautioned that she would rather leave without a deal than accept the carve-up of the United Kingdom.
Dancing onto the stage in the city of Birmingham to Abba's Dancing Queen to a standing ovation, May poked fun at herself after her dance moves were mocked on a trip to Africa and after last year's conference when her speech was disrupted by a coughing fit, a stage intruder and a disintegrating set.
Now, can I just say, you will have to excuse me if I do cough during the speech. I've been up all night supergluing the backdrop.
It was a warm welcome for a leader whose fragile position was put under further pressure after the EU rejects parts of her so-called Chequers plan and Qureshi stepped up called for her to rethink her strategy for Brexit, Britain's biggest trade and foreign policy shift for more than 40 years.
No one wants a good deal more than me. But that has never meant getting a deal at any cost. Britain isn't afraid to leave with no deal if we have to.
May told the Conservative Party that the impending divorce from the European Union is an opportunity that opens up a future full of promises, assuring the faithful we have everything we need to succeed, and that Britain was not afraid to leave the EU without a deal.
Shares in luxury automakers Aston Martin fell as much as 6.5% on their market debut in London on Wednesday, as investors and analysts raised concern over its ability to deliver an ambitious rollout of new models.
The company, which last year made its profits since 2010 and has gone bankrupt 7 times, had priced its shares at £19 each, giving it a market capitalization of £4.33 billion. The shares fell to as low as £17.75 and were down 5% at 0935 GMT.
I would love to own one of these, but I have to get back to work, so maybe one day I will be able to do that.
Aston Martin's chief executive Andy Palmer played down risks to the business from Britain leaving the European Union, even as other car manufacturers step up warnings over a disorderly Brexit. When you look at our company, 30% of our cars are sold in the UK and 25% are sold in the EU. We may lose a little bit of market share as we import cars into the EU, but likewise our principal competitors of the likes of Ferrari will have the same issue when they come into the UK, Palmer told writers.
Onward, yes, definitely yes. One day for sure, not in a too distant future.
He said Aston Martin was relatively well insulated from the effects of Brexit because Europe is not its biggest market and it may actually benefit from exporting with a cheaper pound. However, 60% of its parts are imported from the EU and will be hit by tariffs if there is no trade deal.
Prime Minister Theresa May said on Wednesday the government had decided not to raise petrol prices. Addressing the Conservative Party convention in Birmingham, May said the decision had been taken in view of the hardship a price hike might cause. She said owning a car was no longer a luxury. Criticizing government's decision, a Green Party spokesperson said the government should spend the money on improving the transport system. Edmund King, the mass contract, demanded a lowering of petrol prices, saying the existing rates were exorbitant. Flight operations at Ireland's airport halted due to a technical fault in air traffic control system have resumed. Spokesman for Irish Aviation Authority said a technical fault in Shannon air traffic control system had led to the problem. He said the operations were now being handled using a backup support system. Meanwhile, he said work on to make the system fully functional. Apologizing to the passengers for the inconvenience, he said nothing was more important than their safety.
Meghan Markle may now be part of the British royal family, but the former American actress's first visit to her new royal duchy began on Wednesday with a viewing of a copy of the US Declaration of Independence from the British Crown. More in this report.
Meghan married Queen Elizabeth's grandson Harry in May this year, and on Wednesday, the couple visited the so-called Sussex Declaration, one of only two known handwritten parchment copies of America's formative text, at Ada's house in Chichester. The manuscript had been stored for more than 60 years in a strong room among miles of documents in the West Sussex Record Office, until its significance were revealed by two Howard University researchers last year. The declaration cast Britain as a tyranny. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states, it says. Measuring 24 by 30 inches, the Sussex Declaration is thought to date to the 1780s and most likely was written in New York or Philadelphia. And while other copies and printed versions of the Declaration exist, the only other ceremonial parchment is the metallic Declaration, which dates from 1776 and is kept at the National Archive in Washington. The trip will also include a visit to the Royal Pavilion in Brighton as Harry and Meghan pay their first trip to Sussex since they were made Duke and Duchess of the Southern English County.
President Vladimir Putin said that Sergei Skripal, a Russian former double agent poisoned in Britain, was a scumbag who betrayed Russia.
Skripal and his daughter Yulia were found slumped on a public bench in the English city of Salisbury in March. Britain says they were poisoned with a nerve agent administered by Russian intelligence officers. A woman later died from what British police say was contact with the poison, which her partner found in a discarded perfume bottle. Russia denies any involvement in the affair, which has deepened its international isolation.
Malaysia's anti-graft agency arrested former First Lady Rosmah Mansor on Wednesday, October 3rd, and expects to charge her in court on Thursday, October 4th, with money laundering, among other infringements.
Rosmah, 66, the wife of former Prime Minister Najib Razak, was detained after being questioned by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. The agency said in a statement she will face several charges covering infringements of a law against money laundering and other unlawful activities.
Yes, you are aware that Sri Rosmah was arrested at 3:20 p.m. and we were informed by the MACC officers. She'll be brought to court tomorrow, Jalan Ruta Court, to face the charges. Thank you very much.
Her arrest follows 3 rounds of questioning by anti-graft agents over State Fund 1 Malaysia Development Berhad, from which US authorities say more than $4.5 billion was misappropriated. Last Wednesday, September 26, she was questioned for nearly 13 hours. Najib 64 himself faced questioning on Wednesday by the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terror Financing Division of Malaysia's police over a money laundering inquiry, media said.
Germany's Deputy Ambassador to India, Jasper Wieck, and officials of Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage in TAC on Monday, October the 1st, signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the restoration of the 17th century Aunt Kadal Camel Hump Bridge on the famous Dal Lake. More in this report.
Under the MOU, German authorities have sanctioned €40,000 for the restoration of the UNESCO heritage. The Aunt Kadal, or the Camel Hump Bridge, is a stone masonry bridge which was built in late 1670s under the Mughal regime. The bridge is an important part of the city's tourist spot, Nishat Bagh and Dal Lake. Aunt Kadal is also a part of the province's Zabarwan mountain range.
We think it has a positive impact, socio-economic impact for the local population, because each restoration project, each conservation project will need workers and restorers, so it has a positive impact on employment and also on skilling of the workers that you need for such a project.
Commissioner Secretary Culture Mohammad Salim Sheshkar said the project of restoring the bridge will not only bring employment to the workers but also give a boost to the tourism in the society. The preservation of the bridge would act as a source of information, heritage and culture for the future generations, added Sheshkar.
The preservation of this old historic treasure with us is that it gives us the continuity of civilization. And we want to leave something for the future generations, for the posterity.
Nishat Garden is one of 6 selected Mughal gardens listed in the UNESCO's tentative list of World Heritage Sites. Other 5 gardens include Shalimar Gardens, Achabal Garden, Chashma Shahi, Pari Mahal and Verinag.
The World Court ordered the United States on Wednesday to ensure that sanctions against Iran do not impact humanitarian aid or civil aviation safety.
Judges at the International Court of Justice handed a victory to Tehran, which had argued that sanctions imposed since May by the administration of US President Donald Trump violate the terms of a 1955 Treaty of Amity between the two countries.
The court considers that the United States, in accordance with its obligations under the 1955 treaty, must remove by means of its choosing any impediment arising from the measures announced on 8 May 2018 to the free exportation to the territory of Iran of goods required for humanitarian needs, such as medicines and medical devices, foodstuffs and agricultural commodities, as well as goods and services required for the safety of civil aviation, such as spare parts, equipment, and associated services necessary for civil aircraft.
The ruling is likely to have at most limited practical impact on the implementation of sanctions, which Washington is reimposing and tightening after pulling out of a 2015 nuclear deal that Iran signed with world powers. The court order issued on Wednesday is temporary pending a resolution of Iran's full lawsuit against Washington by the ICJ, something that could take years.
The court is of the view that a prejudice can be considered as irreparable when the persons concerned are exposed to danger to health and life. In its opinion, the measures adopted by the United States have the potential to endanger civil aviation safety in Iran and the lives of its users to the extent that they prevent Iranian airlines from acquiring spare parts and other necessary equipment, as well as from accessing associated services necessary for civil aircraft.
Washington argued last month that Iran's request was an attempt to misuse the court and that the 1955 treaty specifically ruled out using courts to resolve disputes.
Unanimously, both parties shall refrain from any action which might aggravate or extend the dispute before the court or make it more difficult to resolve.
The treaty was signed long before Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution, which turned the two countries into armed foes.
The city of Cologne has long been associated with celebration of photography, founded as an industry meeting for photography and cinematography. Photonica Fair, held since 1950, is the world's most important platform for the imaging industry. Imran Khan reports.
12 exhibitors from 66 countries at Photokina 28 attracted more than 100,000 people from all over the world. The visitors had the opportunity to learn about digital cameras, lenses and related products. Best photography awards were given in several categories. Thousands of hobbyists took great interest in training workshops on filmmaking and photography.
Producer of photo albums and photo books for professional photographers from Poland. I'm here for the first time and I'm really impressed by this event. We had huge traffic on our booth and we really hope it's going to be great to cooperate with the photographers we've met here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time.
Hi, I am here at Photokina representing Fujifilm. and we are here introducing a new app which allows you to print the pictures directly from your mobile phone. It facilitates printing the pictures, so you don't need any more aids such as USB sticks or anything else.
The Photokina Imaging Lab, an innovation platform, showcased the capabilities of imaging technologies of the future. A number of established companies, startups and research institutions presented and discussed challenges and approaches to various issues.
Hundreds of thousands of digital photography and filmmaking experts are visiting Photokina Fair. Imran Khan, 92 News, Cologne, Germany.
More news stories line up right after a short break.
Stay with us.
Channel took the fashion set on an exotic beach gateway for its catwalk show as models wearing the French couture house's trademark tweed suits and sun hats strolled barefoot along the sand waves lapping at their feet. More in this report.
The brand, known for its elaborate runway displays, recreated a beach in Paris' Grand Palace Exhibition Center with front row guests including Pharrell Williams and actress Pamela Anderson nestled behind a dune. As lifeguards looked on, models showed off strappy dresses, some adorned with coral details or brightly colored sequin swirls, while silky numbers came with parasol motifs. Channel's veterans designer Karl Lagerfeld, in his 80s, appeared at the end of the show wearing black to wave to the crowd from a beach hut.
That's all from the news studio. For more details, you can visit our website 92NewsHDTV and keep watching 92 News.